Knowledge can be characterized as factual awareness or as useful skills. And it can also refer to familiarity with things or circumstances. The term knowledge of facts, also known as propositional knowledge, refers to a true belief that can be distinguished from an opinion or educated guess by the use of evidence. Today's debate is about seek knowledge to be really free. If you want to know the power of knowledge, stay with us till the end of the video. Support us by subscribing this channel. Let's begin. Although there is broad agreement among philosophers that it is a type of true belief, many philosophical debates center on the need for justification, including whether it is even necessary, how to understand it, and whether something else is required in addition to it. Learning to be free is possible in a variety of ways. Think about the skills you already possess, the things you genuinely believe you are capable of. They are the activities you have repeated time and time again and practiced until they were automatic. Every normal person is capable of walking and speaking. But without practice, he could never have learned this information. Because a young child cannot perform tasks that are simple for an adult without first performing them repeatedly. Most of us give up after the first or second try. But the individual who truly wishes to learn and educate himself will persevere through to the end. Practice. Any typical child reaches the questioning stage when that rapidly developing brain is most eager for knowledge, at around the age of 3 or 4. When? Where? How? The youngster cries out, "What?" and "Why?" but all too frequently gets the response, "Keep still. Go away from me. Don't bother me." All too frequently, those initial vehement rejections to our sincere questions as children silence our asking faculty. As we mature into men and women, we retain our need for knowledge but are reluctant and embarrassed to approach others in order to obtain it. Any serious, sincere individual who asks any person with information is more than happy to share what he knows. To ask is to command the respect of the other person, who in the process of assisting you is drawn closer to you, likes you better, and will go out of his way on any subsequent occasion to share his knowledge with you. The question never makes the asker seem foolish or childish. Before we move on, we really appreciate if you like this video. Let's continue. Ask. You must be modest when you make an inquiry. You must own your ignorance. But what exactly is so awful about that? Everyone is aware that no one is knowledgeable about everything. Therefore, asking questions just serves to demonstrate your sincerity to the other person. Before you truly desire to learn something, you never learn much. "I wish I were musical," have said a million people. If only I could accomplish that. Alternatively, how I wish I had a decent education. But they weren't being sincere, they were just talking. All learning is based on desire, and the only way to move up the knowledge ladder is to have a desire to learn new things. You might be shocked to learn how much you already know. You could not have survived as long as you have without being filled with knowledge, because it is all within of you and there. The majority of your knowledge, though, and this is the key distinction between education and uneducation, is not ready for use and is not immediately available to you. You can't see it, so you assume it isn't there since it is concealed and buried deep inside of you. It is now up to you to start working on your own gold mine, to refine the raw ore. Knowledge only becomes knowledge when it takes a shape, when it can be expressed in words, or when it can be reduced to a principle. Anytime you come across something novel or exceptionally noteworthy that is lying on the ground, you find that as your examination and inspection move forward, you finally stroll around it. By considering it from many perspectives, you wish to understand the object better. Circulate around the subject being studied to gain understanding. The object has many other sides, many other circumstances, and many other relationships that you cannot know until you examine it from all sides. It is not only what you touch and what you can see. The broad mind is open, inquisitive, and unprejudiced. It tries to understand all sides of the story. The narrow mind remains firmly planted in one place. Don't hide the more important aspects of your work from yourself. Don't be concerned that changing A predetermined opinion would cause you harm. Possess a free, vast, and open mind. Be honest with yourself and the subject of your study. When the time for your assessment comes, avoid it by moving. The brief journey will yield extensive knowledge. The individual who is anxious to sow new seeds of research today in order to reap a new crop of knowledge tomorrow is revered by the world. The world is tired of men who constantly look behind and believe they have already learnt everything important. Don't live in the past, respect it and benefit from what it has to offer. Experiment to learn. Try a novel approach. Observe the results. When Lindbergh crossed the Atlantic, he experimented. By experimenting with microorganisms, Pasteur rendered cow's milk safe for consumption by people. Franklin introduced electricity while experimenting with a kite. The best experiment is almost usually done alone. In an effort to learn, the person experiments with something new, but solely on oneself. If he fails, he will only have wounded himself. If he is successful, he will have discovered a discovery that lots of people can use. Only use your own resources for experimentation, including time, money, and work. That kind of experiment is sincere and truthful. It's wealthy. The low-cost experiment involves treating other people's resources, lives, and bodies like test subjects. Teach if you want information that is sure and sound. Teach your youngsters, your co-workers, and your friends. You will learn much more in the act of teaching than your finest student. You have varying degrees of knowledge, which is relative. You are more adept than your young child at reading, writing, and mathematics. But whenever you have the chance, try to pass along what you know to that child. Just making the effort will result in a huge increase in your own knowledge. It has been widely accepted for ages that reading is the best way to learn new things. This is untrue. The writer believes that reading is not the best approach to gain knowledge, but it is one of several. But if you read correctly, you can undoubtedly learn from reading. Even while what you read is significant, not all of it is. The essential thing is to think about how you read. Because if you can read, you can learn a lot from newspapers, magazines, a single billboard, or an errant advertisement. This is the key to good reading: read critically. That material you are reading was written by someone. The writing was done by a specific person using a pen, pencil, or typewriter. It was all original to him. You would be far more critical than the ordinary reader if you were speaking to him directly and hearing as opposed to reading. While listening, you would consider his characteristics and make a determination about his ability and sincerity. But when you read, you set aside your prejudices and take his words at face value, almost as if the act of publishing it made it true. If you must read to learn something, read critically. Nothing should be believed until it is fully understood and demonstrated. Write it down. When you write to explain, you teach yourself. Writing to inspire others also inspires you. Writing something down helps you remember it. How often have you written something down to remember it, only to realize you already knew it? Men with good recollections write things down. Kids write to learn, not remember. They also have strong memories since they learn through writing. How different from the arrogant, reckless person who relies on memory, forgets rapidly, and is too proud or lazy to write anything down. Listen up. Let him talk when he wants. Beware. Listening carefully could yield helpful information. Listen carefully, and you may hear a warning. If you pay attention, you may earn people's respect. Listen carefully. Consider what he was saying and thinking. Be truthful. This is the easiest approach to learn. It's easy. You'll learn stuff. Simple and effective. What are your thoughts on the subject we are going over today? If you can relate to it, please let us know in the comments. And if you think your friends would enjoy our work, please share it with them. Goodbye.